Hello everyone, it's 12 p.m. in CST, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akhil Pathani. I'll be your speaker along with my co-speaker, Mr. Marcelo, for today's webinar, which is on the IBM HCL deal. So let's, without any further ado, let's start. I hope you guys can see my screen, my presentation, and let me get started on that. So it's a co-webinar with the Royal 7 HCL. HCL has been in news recently because of the IBM HCL deal, where they're acquiring a number of IBM solutions. They have been working with IBM in the past as well, but especially acquiring HCL commerce piece means a lot, and that's why we are having this webinar as well. So we wanted our customers and partners at the same time to understand some more details which are not really available in the market right now till the deal is over. But we'll try to address some of those concerns, some of those questions that we need answers for to the best of our knowledge. And that's why we have HCL as part of this webinar so that we can also talk to them. So having said that, I'll pass it on to Marcelo, and I'll be switching on to HCL deck as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Akhil, and thank you for all of the attendees to making time for this webinar. So let's move to the next page. So the first thing that I have to make sure that everybody understands is that there are information that is still regulated, and I'm legally obliged through that regulation process. This acquisition, while it was announced in December the 6th, it is under the US antitrust regulator being reviewed and approved. So we do expect that communication will come out soon. There was a delay at the beginning of the year with the government closing for a month and a half almost. So we presume that it's going to be approved by mid-June in 2019. So we are working together with IBM on this transfer in the meantime, something that we are doing very actively. And also we met more than 100 clients and partners so far since the announcement, leveraging the opportunities of the NRF and the IBM Think. So we will be glad to address questions from everyone. There's only a couple of limitations that I have to make sure that everybody understands. Is the caveat that I would mention. One is that HCL is not representing IBM in this process. We cannot act on behalf of IBM. So whatever is related to details on product roadmap, especially on version 9 roadmap, the product belongs to IBM. So we fully support and endorse the IBM roadmap, but that is managed by IBM. The other thing is related to contractual aspects or pricing, things like that. That's also being managed by IBM. And same for the personnel. So personnel that is going to be rebadged and transferred from IBM to HCL. So we know numbers, we don't know the people, so we cannot address those specific questions. I don't think that we are going to go through these questions today, but I really need to do this initial disclaimer from the beginning. So moving to the next one. So first of all, I assume, or I imagine that some people may not even hear about HCL before the acquisition. So I joined HCL 2 years ago. Before I went independent for 3 years, and before that I was 21 years in IBM, and I did my entire career, executive career there, actually as with commerce and the retail industry and what IBM called the distribution industry as my main backbone. So I got in touch with commerce since it was net commerce in early 96, 97. And from there, I made some positions in different countries, including Latin America, North America, Europe, global roles. And then after 21 years, I decided to continue by myself. In HCL, I'm in charge of, among other things, of this specific transition from IBM to HCL of the commerce. And after the acquisition, I'll be in charge of some of international markets like Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. So my colleague, David Dobrindt, will be covering North America after the acquisition. That will introduce him later on in different exchanges with individual clients. So before jumping into the mission and philosophy and strategy, I mean, let's say the more cliche positions of about HCL. HCL DNA. Every time that I look into a client, into a company, into any situation, I try to understand what is the DNA of that organization and the people that compose that organization. So HCL was founded in 1976 during the time in which India was embargoed by the international community after nuclear tests practiced in the 1974. As a retaliation, India expelled multinationals from India, and then Indian companies started to venture in some areas of technology and some other areas that is still growing up in India. So HCL was founded by Shiv Nadar, and they started putting together a computer in a garage, which is similar to the story of Steve Jobs in California, actually the same age. And after that, and being successful, they started selling computers. So the original name of HCL was Hindustan Computer Limited. And I mentioned this because, and they were very successful indeed. So they had local contracts, and they keep growing in the local market. So I mentioned this because it's important to understand the DNA of HCL. So HCL grew up as a computer company, so electronic engineering company, where product innovation is absolutely key. So then they start leveraging that advantage in the engineering and research. And as of today, if you turn on a Sony Bravia TV on your living room, the software was made by HCL. Any product of Xerox, when I say any product, every product that Xerox produces is co-patented with HCL and Xerox. So it's research and engineered by HCL. 3,500 engineers of HCL work with Cisco company, and that means that most of the products that Cisco produces are also research and engineered by HCL. And same if you fly in a Boeing 787, all of the software not in the cockpit is designed and produced by HCL. So there are many examples like this in healthcare, in the gaming industry. So what I have with this, what I'm saying is, it's a company which DNA is about the product innovation. So we're taking products from others, innovating and creating better products. So in that growth, HCL has as a core this research and engineering. Then in the second layer, it will be more everything about digital analytics, which is the typical services company. And then the third layer, which is what we call mode 3, is what we call products and platforms, which is software. So basically, during the last, since September 2016 until today, we were investing in acquiring intellectual property from IBM, mainly. We're working also with other companies, but mainly with IBM. And basically looking at robust products, battle-tested, that somewhat were not look with the high focus that they deserved, but they still had a loyal customer base, a decent revenue stream, but also a technology base that we can really pick up, invest, and accelerate, and put those products in the market back again. So before this announcement of December the 6th, we made 15 agreements with IBM, including more than 50 products, in which we basically put money on IBM. We got the exclusive intellectual property of these products, and they will keep. We transfer all of these research and engineers from their labs and the support, and from there, they'll get rebudgeted into HCL, and from there we were growing into. I will get the previous chart. So into the our portfolio. So from there, we have numbers in these 2 years that put us in a position that most of the analysts were saying that under the stewardship of HCL, those products got advanced. Now, this is a very important point. Why? Because most of the clients that were paying subscription and support for those products, they started perceiving the value of paying subscription and support, in this case to IBM, and then IBM would pay us the royalty corresponding to each product. But at the end of the day, what we tried to do here was to demonstrate that those products could get advanced, that we could invest, and because of the product of that investment, that value from subscription and support will be perceived, and eventually even retain more clients. So those numbers that you have here is what we have as a background of what we did with more than 50 products already. In average, two important numbers here are more than 80% of the people that were rebadged came, sorry, 90% of the people that came, that were rebadged came to HCL. And we increased the lab teams and the support teams and the locations for all of the products in an average of 55%. So these numbers were reflected, as I said, by analysts, not in our payroll. And they basically said that we are bringing life back to these products. Now, let's go to the next one. So the next chart, please. So we made major releases, like announcing new versions, not the previous one, new releases for Informix, new releases for Lotus, new releases for Unica marketing. For example, the collaboration suite of version 10, Lotus 10, it's the first announcement of a new version in after 5 years. And the same for all of the products. So for example, here we have planned major release for Informix version 14, another one that didn't have any announcement almost in 4 years. We already did in March the 14th. We picked 14th for the 14th. So basically what I'm saying here is that we were able to demonstrate that the products could get accelerated with the right focus and the right investment. Now, what we did in December the 6th, it was a step forward, which is basically taking the products and making sure that we were now releasing them with major investment and doing an acquisition that it will impact heavily in the market. So of all of these products, the only two that were not included on this initial intellectual property agreements were commerce and also connections. And that's why I think that the community in the market got caught by surprise. But in another hand, while we understand that, we want to demonstrate that we were delivering the value of these products before.
So Marcelo, quickly coming in here, even though I think you cannot say it officially, like what the roadmap for commerce is, but would it be safe to assume, we can see probably the similar kind of growth on the commerce side as well, as we know that Webster Commerce is, even though with version 9 they have taken next step, but it's still lagging in terms of when we compare that with other enterprise solutions in the market. So unofficially, we can expect the same kind of growth that we are seeing in the other technologies that HCL has acquired.
Yeah, it is fair to assume so. Of course, we are assessing the situation of commerce, and we are in permanent touch with IBM. Right. Now, I need to mention this. While there may be a perception of things lagging, version 9 made a big step forward. I mean, I'm saying this independent of the acquisition. So if you see version 9 and what is the plan of version 9 that IBM presented originally in December 2017, and then all of the progresses, including what they presented at Think, you will see that version 9 is a big leap forward for commerce and also as a trend for the industry at the enterprise level. So we know which things may be enhanced or can be enhanced, and that will be the focus. But from our side, yes, you can assume with comfort that we will do the same that we were doing with our approach, which is invest on the roadmap.
Yeah, because one of the biggest concerns that we get from our V9 customers who have gone live and who are in the process of going live on version 9 is that even though IBM introduced a number of new features, technologies as part of V9, they did not really complete those functionalities. Like if I talk about XE architecture, it was stopped in between. So it's kind of hanging in between. So customer is not really sure if they should use that or not. So hopefully we can expect HCL to take that baton and move forward at a faster pace, so that the clients or customers who have already gone live with V9 or planning, they can look forward to that, they can take advantage of those technologies, right?
Very good point, Akhil. While we encourage clients also and our partners is to give us permanent feedback on these type of things. Innovation, and this is kind of important point that you touch. While I cannot answer you specifically of that particular feature, because it's on IBM side at this point,
Right.
what I can tell you is we understand that innovation process is not an innovation process that comes inside out. A good customer of I think it's your customer too, but a good customer told us labs are the zoo and we are the wild. So we definitely want the interaction with the wild.
Right.
So the innovation process, the way that we were able to innovate with the other products that we have on the chart is because we were able to, in one hand, invest more money, but that's not enough. It's not just telling to the lab, lab guys decide what comes into the product. No, it means that we also kept an open channel and doing innovation workshops with customers and partners to making sure that what is really required. Because in some cases, technical depth, in some cases, are things that can be released and they will be used. But in some other cases, you can find, I can show you, things that we do to try to pay off technical debt that will never be used because it was needed 2 years ago, not now.
Right.
So that's are the type of things that we're making sure that we cover well.
Nice. So while I'm talking to you on this, let me take opportunity to ask a deeper question on commerce thing as well. So initially when IBM had this as part of a press release, they just mentioned that only on-prem commerce was moving. But unofficially, everyone knows like it's not just the on-prem, but the cloud ICP is also moving. But we do have different flavors available, like we have MHAS and so on and so forth. Do you, candidly want to share a little bit more about like, what might be, I'm not going to quote you on this, but there's a lot of confusion. We have some customers on MHAS as well. They're not really clear what to expect, what not to expect. So do you have some information you want to share on this candidly?
Yes, yes and no. I mean, the part that no is because this is an IBM offer, and again, I have to say I cannot represent what IBM plans. Now, of course, we are having dialogues of this type. So everything that so both commerce on-prem, which is called commerce on-prem, but it's commerce, and IDC are coming to HCL. So all of what is the intellectual property of commerce comes to HCL. In the terms of managed hosting as a service, that's an offering that GTS, IBM GTS have. I understand that IBM may decide to make certain changes to that offering because it may require to have a current subscription and support. So I'm not deferring completely this to an answer of IBM, which is what it corresponds, but it's something that is being addressed. So we are in conversations with IBM about that. Customers and GTS may have those conversations, and I would say that the worst case scenario is that a client may change of hosting provider, but I don't foresee that as a situation.
Okay, makes sense. Awesome. So Marcelo, I'll if you have anything more to add before I start talking about some of the frequently asked questions that customers or partners may have.
Yeah, the typical questions are related to what to expect from us in the future in terms of the relationship. So what we really make sure that everybody understands is that we don't plan to make big interruptions. Or I mean, of course, it's going to be another company in the other side. But in certain cases, IBM may retain the contract, so the contract will be executed by IBM and will be continue being collected and executed by IBM. And in some other cases, those contracts will be transferred to us. And in those cases, we have to do what we call the mutual empanelment. So we have to make sure that we are registered, properly registered with the client as a provider, and also the client has to verify that the entitlements that IBM informed about that customer is the correct entitlements that he purchased from IBM. So they're going to be, let's say, a hands-off period of time. Now, this transfer is not something that's a switch on and off. It's going to be an accompanied process between IBM and HCL to the clients, meaning that after the acquisition completes, customers are going to receive a notification from IBM. They're going to be notified if the contract is retained or not, if what is transferred to HCL, and immediately after, they're going to receive a notification from HCL in order to start interacting with us now formally. So that's one thing. The other thing is related to things that IBM is already engaged, or let's say the labs guys in Toronto are engaged, or the product managers engaged. So how we can continue, or making sure that we have a continuation of this process. Here, I would say that independently of whatever as corporations and following processes we will execute, I strongly encourage to making sure that we interact personally. Persons, some people, there are some things that are related to people being transferred from one company to the other. If we and that's why I'm in Germany and some other countries this week, is because I'm basically discussing with clients and making sure that the commitments or the plans that are being discussed with the guys that are this side of the corridor now are going to be fulfilled when they cross the aisle and they are in the other side of the corridor. So in some cases are going to be the same people. So which is easier, but I want to make sure that it's running smoothly.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I'll let you take a breather. I have some very frequently asked questions on my slides. I'll walk both the audience on that. So I'll let you take a breather, catch a glass of water before I'll open up for you towards them. Thank you so much. I'll let you take a breather and continue on my slide. Thank you, Marcelo. So so guys, jumping back to the webinar. So if you can see my screen, we'll just quickly go through some of the very common questions that we have been able to pull some answers from HCL. HCL has been updating their site as well. So if you have not been receiving the notifications, or if you have not been watching the site for these updates, so we have some important ones jotted down for you. I'll be going through them quickly. I'll be covering the customers first. So let's say that one of the very common questions that we have been getting is like whether the customer needs to buy the licenses from HCL or IBM. So pretty much straightforward. Like if the deal is, until the deal is not done, it would be business as usual via IBM. And once that deal has been closed, then HCL would be working with the courts, with the licenses, and so it would be sold by HCL. So after this, the second question comes whether the pricing would be good at tomorrow. So there's nothing as all item needs to go sale or like any Black Friday sale that IBM is offering right now. Again, business as usual. We have been selling licenses close to last quarter last year and beginning of this quarter. We haven't really seen much of a difference in terms of pricing. So I would fairly assume that pricing is not going to change. We do not know how HCL is going to position the pricing. So it can be hopefully it's not more, but we may expect, who knows, better pricing than what IBM is selling right now. But again, more clarity would happen once the deal has gone through. So what happens to the customers with ELA, which is Enterprise License Agreement? So as per the terms and conditions, IBM will continue to serve those customers. So if you have any open tickets requests, you will be directly going to IBM's L1 support. And towards the completion of that agreement that you have with IBM, HCL will proactively start working with you so that they can do a very clear transition or renew your licenses and so on and so forth. And post renewal, then HCL would be who you will be corresponding with. Another one is like in case you need any support, whom should you reach out to? So again, business as usual. IBM is here to support you if you are on IBM contract right now. And HCL is already supporting 5 of the 7 products as part of their portfolio. So even now, if you have any questions, you are already talking to HCL on those products. So for the newer products like commerce, you will continue to talk to IBM as of now, but once the deal goes through, you'll be talking to HCL. Roadmap and future investments, again, something HCL cannot open up right now, but as Marcelo was talking about, looking at the previous trend, the history, HCL does invest heavily, and the DNA is predominantly research and development. They have been working with a number of organizations, big and small, in the background. He quoted the Bravo example. Probably he should have ignored the Boeing 737 example, but that's perfectly fine. So, but yeah, we can see HCL being supporting all those technologies and services. So we can
Boeing 787 Dreamliner is flying. Okay.
yeah, that's true. So yeah, so we can expect the same from HCL to be supporting all these technologies and services for these platforms too. But we'll have more clarity once the deal goes through. In the meantime, you can definitely do one thing. You can add up HCL as a vendor. Very straightforward process. So you can be a little proactive if your license are expiring soon, or you plan to buy a newer license towards the mid of 2019. So you can act a little smarter, and you can add HCL as your vendor, because sometimes your internal teams can take a really long time to onboard a new vendor inside your system. So if I was you, I'll probably start looking into that. What happens to SLA? SLA is pretty much the same. HCL most probably would be supporting the same SLA and support, so there's nothing to be worried about there. Jumping, okay, we do have one more. So anything changes between the customer and the business partner? If I really want to say that, yes, please break all your contacts with your existing partners and sign up with Royal Cyber. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Nothing changes for the customers and the partners. Please continue working with your partners. Just make sure that they have signed up as a HCL partner as well. Again, a very straightforward process. It took me half an hour. We are already a HCL partner, so please go ahead. Ask your vendors to be HCL partners, and it would be a very smooth sailing after that. We have some very common FAQs for partners too. We are a partner ourselves, so we do understand the pain sometimes when you do not really see information that you want to see, and because it's happening so fast, you go to conferences. HCL is there to support there as well, but everyone is overbooked, and you don't really get the time to speak one-on-one. Marcelo was really kind to join this session, so and we have some questions put up together again. So do I need to sign up for partnership with HCL? Yes, you need to. Very straightforward process. Go to the website, and what I'll do is I'll share this deck. I'll have the URL listed as well. So please go ahead and sign up as a partner. As I said, very straightforward. What happens to open opportunities? So again, nothing changes till mid of this year. And so if you have open opportunities with IBM, please continue to work on those opportunities and close them with IBM. Towards the end, I think we will have a little bit more clarity, and by then you would already be HCL partners, so you would be able to see some internal details coming through. So at that time, you will be in a better position to decide whether you will be opening them with IBM or HCL. But as of now, the business is as usual. Can you start selling HCL via HCL already? No. Yeah, so you'll have to wait for the deal to come through, because till then we won't even have the pricing ready. So yeah. And then, so how will you get the deals from HCL? The way that you get from IBM right now, again, you need to be a partner, and HCL is still working on the partnership agreements. So we'll have more clarity towards the closure of a deal, how these new leads or opportunities would come through. And my assumption is that it would be almost identical, if not identical. So you will be getting your credit for your opportunities, and might be a slightly different process, but yeah, it would have to be a similar kind of process. So that kind of brings me to FAQs I have for the customers and partners. I'll quickly go through version 9 now. As you know, that version 9 has been one of the biggest updates I've seen across IBM SA Commerce, and till version 7 it was pretty lagging. V8 kind of brought a new hope with the jQuery store, but V9 kind of, it was not, I was not expecting so many changes to happen, and which were all very welcome changes. So it kind of breaks my heart to see customers waiting on this deal to go through, or they're waiting for to see what happens in the future, whether they get more support on XC or related changes that have been brought on V9, and then they will decide to move forward with V9 or not. But we have some smart customers who have already done the transition. We saw Abercrombie and Fitch going live during February. Their site, both ANF, Abercrombie.com and Hollister, are already on V9, and you can already see the snappiness and the interface that it provides. So we are very excited about that, and we are also working on few other opportunities. So I just wanted to talk about how Royal Cyber can bring value. So if you are thinking about it, you are kind of confused whether you should go forward or not. So we already have customers who are live. We have projects already running across the globe, so we can share our experience with you. We have assessment package. It's a I'll talk more about that, how much that is, but we have a assessment package which can help you to make a informed decision. It's usually 2 to 4 weeks, but at the end of it, you would be able to look at numbers that can help you decide whether you want to do it or not. We have migration packages, and we're supporting both lift and shift and re-implementation. We suggest for re-implementation because only that way you can take advantage of the new platform. Lift and shift was usually required when IBM had V7 phasing out in 2019, but IBM has pushed that date to 2020. So we are in a very good position, and we can totally ignore lift and shift, and we can focus more on re-implementation. We also have services where we can do a complete DevOps, which is your CI/CD, and we can also totally do a complete automation of your platform, which includes test automation, build and deployment, and everything else. So you do not need to have any manual teams to take care of that, and we have already seen it working flawlessly on V9. So it's an excellent platform, and it has the tools and features available to support complete automation of the platform. We might be the only IBM partner who has developed a course on version 9 as well. We did a number of free webinars last year, and the link is available. I'll be sharing the link. It's available on our site. If you or your internal teams want to do it, they can go ahead and register themselves, and we can do a webinar on that too. Quickly talking about the assessment, because this has been the most common questions we are asked about. So it's a 2 to 3 week on-site workshop, which will include meetings with the stakeholders, looking at your new requirements, your updated requirements, and we'll also do a code and infrastructure review. So based on that, we'll have a deliverables, like we'll do a fit gap analysis, which talks about what your current customizations can be moved to a version 9, which ones cannot be. And since we all know there are a lot of new features on V9, it also does a mapping between what features within V7 can be replaced with V9. So it kind of gives you a head start with looking at the numbers and a high-level migration plan or re-implementation plan. You and your business users can make a very informed decision whether you want to move forward on that or not. On the migration side, we have built accelerators. So what value Royal Cyber brings is, like, you can take advantage of these accelerators, and we can help you go live anywhere between 8 to 10 months on version 9, going the re-implementation way. So we already have accelerators which can help you do a quick DB migration. We have the scripts available for post-migration. We have steps or quick shortcuts available for you to migrate your solar, migration of EJBs to JPAs. IBM does provide the tool, but they are just the tool which can flag which are the EJBs and that they need to be converted. It does not convert it for you. So we have the accelerators for RESTful API migration, because you may have a number of custom RESTful APIs. So we can help you with that, and we don't need to start from scratch. We can give you a head start, which can help you go live quickly. And same goes for the backend logic and the front end logic. So doing all this, we can really take advantage of all this and get live with version 9. In terms of course, again, information is available online, and it's a 5-day course. It's a 5-day course, and day 1 agenda is as on the screen. We have a day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5, and all of these courses have exercise so that your team can really get a hands-on this and really take some advantage back home. And if you have internal teams working on V7 or V8, they can take advantage of this course, and they can start some internal assessment, if you want to put it that way, and may help your business user make an informed decision. In terms of ecosystem, we already have the major integrations already moved to V9 using the new framework. So you can again take advantage of this and get a head start. And as I mentioned in the very beginning of the webinar, the term super. So we have a super accelerator available. So in this box, you get all the accelerators we have built for V9 reimplementation. You get a headless kit. So headless kit includes a number of various interfaces that you can utilize out of the box. We have AI chatbot, which is powered by, it can be powered by Watson or any other AI of your choice, which can handle your customers and also do, cart abandonment. It can flag that and stop your customers then and there. We have automation. We have our own product called TIF, which we have included in this package, which can help your team do a complete test automation. So you don't even have to execute any test cases, any visual test cases. Everything is done by this platform. and DevOps, of course. So everything has a complete CI/CD built in. So you don't even have to touch or click anything. Everything is taken care of. So all of this is included as part of a Royal Cyber Super Accelerator, which can help you go live anywhere between 8 to 10 months. A little bit on headless, as you know, and IBM has been emphasizing on this as well. Headless does, so it's kind of reinventing the wheel. We all started with headless. We all were using Adobe's and other CMSs, Alfresco, so Open CMS and so on and so forth previously, to give customers a unique front-end experience, and then using Webster Commerce at the back end for transactional capabilities. Then we saw a change in Outlook, and we had all major enterprise e-commerce platforms having that CMS component built in. And now we're coming back to the same old stuff. We now are trying to make it more and more loosely coupled so that we can take advantage of companies who are purely focusing on CMS and making that experience much more better, handling customer narrative much more better. So again, with V9, everything is totally on RESTful APIs. You can literally do everything. It's future friendly. So in the future, if you want to change your CMS to something very drastic, you are in a position to do that. And what we are doing is we are offering 5 of our accelerators that we have built. We have a single page application using AngularJS that we offer as part of this super package. We have a React Native Thin client as well. We have a native mobile application which works out of the box using V9, V8, and V7 RESTful APIs. We have an AI chatbot, so your customers can actually do an end-to-end checkout using your AI chatbot. And also we can take advantage of the social platform. So if your customer wants to make a purchase from Facebook, they can actually add your chatbot as a friend, and they can converse at the same time. They can make a complete purchase, follow up on the orders, track their orders, and get suggestions as well. So that pretty much brings me to the end of my blabbering, and you guys know that we already have a customer ANF live on WCS version 9.0. I'll request you guys to go to the site and have a look, and get that confidence. And if you are just waiting for things to be nicer for you to take that decision, please go ahead and do that. Thank you once again. Have a good day.
Thank you.